Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is the sequel to the 2015 hit that was the reboot of the 1993 classic. You know what happens. Dinosaurs get loose. People are on the run. So
Yeah.
this time, this is a sequel to the reboot that we got a few years ago where, the animals kind of got loose at the end. So with this one, the animals that are loose on the island, there's a volcano on the island. It's about to erupt and wipe out all these dinosaurs. So they go back to save them. So,
Yes.
of course, we'll keep this review spoiler-free, but... Nate, let's just start with the plot of the movie. What they did with, kind of making this like a rescue mission, and then, what would later unfold.
Yeah, with the plot, surprisingly, the trailers left very little, to figure out what's going on with the plot here. The opening, I want to say, was very exciting for me. Right when it opened, I was like, cool, well, I'm on board. This is great. For me, I kind of wish with these Jurassic Park movies or Jurassic World movies, I wish they would just stay in the park, and there just wasn't enough park for me. What about you?
Yeah, I feel like the first movie was... It's weird because how these movies are all about like making a hybrid dinosaur. I feel like these movies are like a little bit hybrids of the previous trilogy. Like
That's a good way to look at it, yeah.
A lot of beats from the original Jurassic World, and I feel like there's a lot of beats from the Lost World in this one. Also kind of some beats taken from the previous movie where it's just like, what's with everything in like sci-fi movies these days, like the reboots, everything's a hybrid. This hybridization, let's cross these species. I feel like that's kind of something they did in the first Jurassic World, and then they just kind of did it again with this one.
Yeah, and that's my biggest issue with the plot in this. It's just very familiar. Like, there is such an expansive world here that you can build with dinosaurs and cool scenes and cool plot points, but instead they just keep sticking with this, like, dino DNA to make something to sell for money. Like, why can't they figure out another way to tell a story having to do with these dinosaurs? And that's my biggest problem with this movie. It's that it just was all too familiar.
Yeah, it was. It took a lot of beats from the old ones, and though I do agree with you that you did not get a lot of the plot from the trailers of this movie, however, I feel like the trailers really ruined some suspenseful moments. I mean, you can show the suspenseful moment in the trailer, but you can't show the resolution. You can't show how they escaped. Sure. There are so many scenes in the trailer showing how they escaped that when they started to play out in the movie, I'm like, oh, I know how they get away, and so it just kind of ruins the suspense. I feel like there are some moments where there might have been some great suspense building, but because this movie's so heavily advertised and so heavily marketed, I feel like it kind of, they put the marketing out there to get the word out about the movie, and it worked against its own...
Yeah, I mean, what I really wanted out of this movie was more of, like, the kitchen scene from the original or something like that.
You want more horror.
More horror. More
stalking,
like,
kind of.
I want, like, a creature feature, I want monsters stalking people. And in this, my biggest praise for this is that it is a great-looking movie. Like, I really like some of the visuals that this director does with this. There are some cool lighting choices. They really showcase the dinosaurs and the special effects. They really do, but just, like, nothing is given enough time for me to care about the suspense. I never felt in danger for these people, and I just kind of wish they would have focused at least on, like, a couple of the characters so we got to know them, or focus on... the themes of the plot so we could get to know that, or focus more on the suspense so we can build up a little bit, but nothing seemed to breathe. It just seemed to just go and go and go, and I got nothing out of it.
Yeah, I completely agree. This is not a slow movie. There weren't any slow moving parts. It might be too fast of a movie. I think you're right that it didn't have enough room to breathe, and there were these new characters who were introduced, and I'll be honest, I didn't really care about them because I didn't know anything about them.
There are some cool set pieces. I really do like the way the third act unfolds in this set piece. Like, yes, it's not in the park, but I kind of liked where they were, and I thought it left a lot of room for, like, cool things. Yeah, contain cool things to happen. But one thing that you've pointed out in the past, and I completely agree with, is have our characters grown? Are they growing through this? Are they learning anything? And the answer is no, because our two lead actors are the same people. They're not really learning anything new. And to be honest, the script doesn't give them anything to work with. I didn't feel like the actors were trying to breeze through this. I just felt like they didn't have a choice.
Yeah, and it's weird how the first Jurassic World, it starts off like Claire and Owen, like, they had a romance before. It's kind of weird now. Through this, they get rekindled, and then we're back to square one.
It's like they had a romance again before, and now they're rekindled.
Right, exactly. So it just, you're right. I mean, as far as not only the characters within the arc of this movie, but the characters within the arc of this trilogy that they're planning. I feel like as far as the villains,
Yeah.
you could have just swapped out any actor for any role, and it's just like whatever. There was no real riveting. There's no antagonist. The thing I liked about at least the first two Jurassic Park movies was that there was the human protagonist, the human antagonist, and the dinosaurs were like just this neutral threat.
Sure, they're just animals.
Yeah, kill good guys and bad guys easily, discernible from one another.
Yeah.
Whereas with this one, like halfway through the movie, I'm like, oh, what was the human antagonist? Oh, yeah, that guy. I mean, it's just that I didn't feel like the neutral threat of the dinosaurs. It kind of took over at one point instead of it being like, you know, these two clashing ideologies and then dinosaurs are in the middle of it.
Right. And that's, once again, we're going back, like, this, for me, this director is too talented for this type of script.
Absolutely.
Like, that's the problem here. He had, you know, he did the best he could. And I don't blame the direction of this movie whatsoever. I blame the writing and the plot choices, especially this weird twist you're supposed to figure out with a child. And not only was the twist delivered poorly, it was a terrible twist. I was like, you had opportunities to go in so many cool directions with this, and that's what it was? And it was like a throwaway. It really bothered me. That twist with the child, I'm not going to spoil it, was awful.
Yeah, and they led up to it so much. You know, they foreshadowed at it so much. You thought at some point it would play a point in the plot.
Yeah.
And it kind of, sort of does. At the end. But it's just so ham-handed, and like the message of it all, the theme behind it all is just kind of shoved in your face the last second, where you're right, there's a lot of suspense, no payoff.
Right. And so in the end, I think that there are some serviceable action scenes in this movie. There is some suspense, and the dinosaurs do look really cool. And it seemed like the director was trying his hardest, but it's just this story doesn't have any business being here because we've seen it before. Like, come on, we're smart audience members. You can't just keep rehashing the same thing over and over again. We're gonna catch on. And I've definitely caught on where, man, the Jurassic Park movies are just like, ugh, like, I don't know. So they could be great, or they could, it is. It's a complete seesaw. And for this one, the saw was down.
Yeah, indeed. I can't blame the direction of this movie. I think that everything boils down to the writing, between the lack of character development, some of the dialogue between the characters, and then just the story itself. I think as far as direction, visual effects are always top notch,
sure.
and the acting is serviceable.
It's fine,
but they don't have the greatest material to work with, so it's serviceable for the material that they have. Buffs. All right, Nate, so it seems like we had more than a few problems with this movie, but there are definitely some bright spots. So how do they balance out? What's your score?
There are some bright... This is a tough one because I think that fans of Jurassic World will like this movie, and I think that kids will like this movie a little bit more than adults will. I'm going to barely put it on a passing score because I can't really quite decide like if I would recommend this to a certain demographic. I'm going 6 out of 10. So it's teetering, though, pretty bad. What about you?
Yeah, this movie barely clears the bar for me. I'm also going to give it a 6 out of 10. I feel like it's serviceable, it's entertaining at spots, but it definitely has a lot of problems with it. And there are a lot of quality movies that have come out this summer. So if it's a once a summer, an occasional movie thing for you, go see something else. But if you're like us and you're going to catch one every week, yeah, give it a try.
Yeah, but be warned.
Don't keep your hopes up.
Yeah, exactly.
Buffs.
All right, so that's our review of Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. What do you guys think of the movie? What do you think of the Jurassic Park franchise in general? Leave all your comments down below.
Join us next week. We'll be doing another sequel when we review Sicario: Day of the Soldado. It's kind of weird that this one got a sequel, but we both really enjoyed the first one, so we're definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah.
But no matter where you are, no matter who you're with,
watch more movies.